Hi everyone. So today we're going to be learning how to find the equation of a circle from the graph of the circle already. So we're going to be going a little backwards. We want to find the actual coordinate point for our center, the radius value, so that from there we can actually go and plug it into the center radius form equation for the circle, which I have right here. And I've also written that the center is going to be our h and k value, and then we're going to find our r as well. So I have my circle already graphed here, my x and y axis, and every single box here, I've given it a unit of 1. So if I go up 1, the value is 1. If I go 1 to the left, 1 to the right, 1, and 1 down. So from my graph right here, I have my circle, and I want to be able to identify both my radius and my center so that I can actually create my equation over here. So if I come here, I've already drawn the point for my center. So all I have to do now is actually find the value of it. So if I start at the origin point, which I know my x and my y are 0 here, I'm going to go 1, 2 up. So I know that I went 2 in the positive y direction. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So that's positive 2. Now I'm going to move 1, 2, 3. And I went negative 3 in the x direction, sorry. So from here, now I can actually do my coordinate point, which is negative 3, positive 2. This is my center. And now I also want to find my radius, my value of the radius. And the radius is a line that connects the center to an outside point of my circle. So if I'm going to draw, let's say my radius here, I'm going to connect this middle line here to the outside of my circle here. And all I have to do here is count the value. It doesn't matter if it's positive, if it went from negative 3 to positive negative 5. All I want is how many units is this, and it's 1, 2. So it's a value of 2. I know my r is equal to 2. Not positive, not negative, just a value. Because same thing, if I go from here to here, I'm moving up 2. Here I'm moving right 2. Here is down 2. So we just want the value r is equal to 2. I found my center. So I'm going to write it here so it's a little bigger. I know my center is negative 3, 2, and my radius is equal to 2. Okay, one important thing that we always do with circles is that when we're working with this equation here, if I go from here to here, I have to be able to note that here my h and my k were negative, and when I wrote them in a coordinate point, they're positive. So we're always going to be doing opposite h and opposite k, meaning that if they're positive here, when I plug them into my equation, they're going to be negative. If they were negative as a coordinate point, they're going to be positive in my equation. So to represent this, let's start off. My x and my y are always going to stay the same. I have x plus or minus a number squared plus, this plus is always going to remain a plus. This sign never changes, because if we change the sign, we're going to create a different graph. So then my y stays the same, plus or minus my k squared is equal to r squared. So now let's look over here and see the data that we found from our graph. So here, if let me label these. This is my h, this is my k. My h here is negative, so that means that when I plug it into my equation, it's going to be positive. So I'm going to have plus 3. My k here was positive 2. So when I plug it into my equation, it's going to be negative 2. And this is my radius. This is just r is equal to 2. My radius is represented here. And when I have my equation, I have r squared. So what I want to do here is either square the 2 already or put it as 2 squared. So this is represented as, r squared. My r is 2, and that's squared based off my equation. This is my h, this is my k. So usually they always square r, so let's have that as our final solution. So we have x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 4. So this right here is my equation for the circle right here. For this circle right here, I have my h, my k, and my radius squared. So let's move on to another example. Okay, so this one, my units here, every time I jump, it's going to be by 2. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8. Same if I go up or down. So again, the two main important things that we want to find always to be able to make our equation is going to be our center and our radius. So we want to find these two things right here. I've already drawn the point for the center. All I have to do is find the ordered pair for it and the value of my radius. So again, every time I jump, my jump is going to be 2. So the value is going to be 2. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 4, 6. So I went positive 6 in the x direction, and I'm going to go 2, 4, 6. So negative 6 in the y direction. So once I found, let me draw an arrow. My center is going to be positive 6, negative 6. And my radius, I'm going to connect this to an outside point, a point on the outside of my circle. So this right here. And again, every time I move up or down, it's represented by a value of 2. So I'm going to move 1 down, which in our graph is going to be 2. So my radius here is 2. The value of my radius is 2. So here, I know my center is 6, comma negative 6, and my r value has a value of 2. So again, we want to make our equation, which is up here. So my x always stays the same, plus or minus something, squared plus y plus or minus a k value squared is equal to r squared, a value of r squared. If I look at my ordered pair here, this is going to be my h, my k, my r. And I'm always going to be doing opposite h, opposite k. So if in my ordered pair my h was positive, in my equation it's going to be negative 6. My k here was negative 6, so it's going to be positive 6 in my equation. And my value of r is 2 here. So I'm going to plug in a 2 here. This all stays the same. I'm just going to square this for my final equation. I have x minus 6 squared plus y plus 6 squared is equal to 4. This is my h, k, and my r squared. And this is my final equation of this circle right here. And if you guys want to just always label, this is my h, my k, and this value right here is r squared. And let's do one more example. If I haven't drawn this one, I'll just do one, two, three, four. Okay, so this is my final example right here. I'm going to draw my center. So my radius, here's my center point right here. So we know that the center of our x and y axis is always going to have the value of 0, 0. So this was a pretty easy center to find. My center is the ordered pair 0, 0. And remember, to find our radius, we always move from the center of the circle to a point outside of our circle. So I'm going to move from the center. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So I went up 3, and let's just check. 1, 2, 3. It's also 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. 3 down. 3 to the right. So this is my radius right here. Just kind of hard to see. My radius is r is equal to 3. So I'm just going to write it again. My center and my radius. The center of the circle is the origin of my x and y axis, which is 0, 0. And my radius has the value of 3. So r is equal to 3. And again, we just want to plug it into our equation. So my x is going to stay the same, plus or minus my h squared, plus, again, always keep a plus. This is always going to be a positive. Y plus or minus something squared is equal to my r squared. So I'm going to plug in an h here, a k here, and an r here. This is my h, my k. My h was positive 0. My k is, or let's keep it from the equation. It's a negative minus, doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. And my r is 3. Only because it's a 0. That's why I said it doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to keep it to look like the equation above. So now when I want to write this as my final equation, since 0 has no value, I'm just going to write my x by itself. X squared plus y squared is equal to 9. This is my final equation. I have my value of my h, which is somewhere right here. My k is right here, which is the 0. And then I want you guys to always remember that if this isn't squared, then this is the value r squared. And that is how you find the equation of the circle from a graph. And the most important things, again, that you want to be able to identify in here is your center, your radius, and always, always remember that it's always opposite h, opposite k. So whatever you get from your center, whatever ordered pair you get, remember it's always going to be the opposite value of that. So if this is negative, positive, this is positive, negative.